What was one of the main ways that you were able to help your children foster their own relationships with God and their own intimacy with Holy Spirit? How did you lead them in that?
Oh, well, we expected it. We expected them to hear. We expected them, I remember several times through their growing up years where maybe I became upset at something and maybe I was disrespectful to someone, maybe one of the kids or maybe, the guy in the car next to me that just cut me off or whatever. And I would confess to the whole family, and then I'd have my kids pray for me. They laid hands on me and prayed for me. I would expect them to hear from the Lord. And so we taught them early on that they can, so it was never an issue. We'd be in a small group, we'd have children there, adults, and I would, let's say we've got 15 of us in a room, and I'd say, all right, I want all of you, tell me what you think God is doing in Lauren's life. And my kids would be the first one to pipe in, and they'd say, well, what I see, and they didn't know they were prophesying, but they were. So we just trained them in that environment just to speak what they had a conviction for. And so it was very natural. It was never, you are now hearing from God, or that was, a dumb idea or whatever. It was just a natural way to experience life together.
Sure.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, raising families is a lot of work, and it's for a lifetime, and family and life is so busy. How did you and Benny find time to rest well in the midst of family and work?
Yeah, you just have to pick. Some things you have to schedule. So there's some lifestyles, certain kinds of occupations. A doctor, pastors, because they're on call all the time. There's some things that your life is so flexible, unexpected, elastic would be maybe a better term, that you actually have to schedule what you say is important. And if you don't schedule it, it won't get done because there's too much other spontaneous stuff that will take your time. So for us, we would just, we'd schedule it. I'm not a workaholic. I never was tempted to work on a day off. If I had a day off, which I would take Mondays off, I was never tempted to go into the office and just finish up something. I just didn't do it. I didn't bring it home. And not only did I not bring the work home, I didn't bring the burden home. I would leave it at the office. So, if you don't bring the work home, but you come home and you're bummed out because of what happened during the day, then that affects everyone. And I would remind myself, actually, for a while, I worked right in front of where our house was at the church. And I would walk from the back door to my house, and I'd talk to myself, and I'd say, you're not off work yet, Bill. You've got 4 more hours.
Dinner time, bedtime.
Yep. My wife has been with the kids all day. She needs an adult to talk to. My kids need their dad to wrestle with them on the floor, to build something out of whatever, And so I would just remind myself, you're not off work yet, and go home and just serve them. And after everyone's in bed, and then I could relax.